I'm a 33-year-old type 1 diabetic. I have a just over 2.5-year-old and I'm currently 20 weeks pregnant with my second child. It's that time of year when coughs and colds are running riot around most households. We've had it a couple of times each here over the last month, 5 weeks, and I thought I would share some hints and tips to help when little ones are poorly. It's not very nice. I think you do worry as a parent about them. I still have a cold now, that's why I'm still quite snuffly, so apologies in advance for that. The first tip is to encourage your children to stay hydrated, which is much easier said than done. I think for a child that's under sort of 18 months, and they may still be having breast milk or formula, just encourage them that if they don't want water or they're refusing water, to go back to their regular source of milk. So as I say, whether that's breast milk or formula. I found this quite unusual with Theo because by the time he was 12 months old, he was fully weaned and he was just having breast milk on a morning and an evening. However, whenever he was poorly, he just wanted to feed, which was almost a substitute for meals. I wouldn't worry about it, and I think as long as they're getting fluid into them, then that's the whole point. I think as they get older and they hit the mark of the terrible twos, it can be a little bit more tricky because they will often refuse fluids. You know they really need it, but they just don't want to take it. So I think a couple of tips that I've found really useful that we have used with Theo. The first is to get a child spoon. So we've just got a Tommy Tippy blue one here, and then a plate. We've just got a lipped plate. I think this was from IKEA. Fill the plate with some ice cubes and let them melt a little bit so you can start to see the liquid running. And then encourage the little one or baby to sort of play with the ice, suck the ice, use a spoon to sort of get the water. And this is really encouraging them to drink a bit of fluid. Obviously with a very young child, be careful of the ice cubes and any choking hazard or anything like that. But this is something that can entertain them. They'll play with the ice, and I think for an older child, sort of Theo's age, it becomes quite interesting for them to navigate round the ice and try and use the spoon. So that's something that has worked and we have used before. The second is to use a novelty cup. So this sounds really basic, but something as simple as going to your local supermarket, Poundland, and buying them a new cup or a new straw can be really exciting for a little one and will encourage them to drink. So Theo's just had a cold, as I've said, and we bought him a Christmas cup. I haven't got it with me at the moment, but I'll try and insert a clip. But it's a Christmas cup with like a windy straw that goes round it. He loves this, absolutely loves it, and he will sit and happily drink sort of half a cup of water from this cup, just watching the liquid go round. So that's something that has worked really well. We have also bought different straws in terms of coloured neon straws, and that again will encourage them to drink, or has worked for Theo. The other thing we have used is some milk straws. These are just from B&M or your local sort of home bargain store. I think these were 89p, so I'll hold them up now. There. And the point of them is that as the child drinks, whatever they're drinking, whether it's water or milk, becomes flavoured. So we've got strawberry here, and then we've got a mixed one of strawberry, banana and forest fruits. But it just makes things a little bit more exciting, and again will encourage them to drink. These are a fail-safe for us. We always have some in just in case. It's also particularly useful in summer when again you might be concerned that your little one hasn't drank very much and needs some more hydration. So that's something that we definitely use. I was a bit worried at the start about the sugar content in them, but when I did actually do some research into it, per straw there's 5 grams of sugar, which actually isn't that much at all. It's about the amount of sugar or glucose that's in sort of half a satsuma. So in reality, you want them to get as much liquid into them as you can when they're poorly. I would say is to not get too obsessed or too worried about losing your routine a little bit. This is something that I really struggled with Theo. I used to worry when he was poorly. All he wanted to do was lie and cuddle with a blanket and just watch TV all the time. We've had a bit of a rule within our house that TV is limited. It was the same for when I was a child. So that was something that was quite unusual. However, now that Theo's older, when he's poorly, the thing he wants to do is watch films or watch TV and cuddle you. I think that's quite natural, and I think it is important just to think it's only a short phase. It'll be for a couple of days and then they're back on their feet, they're back to feeling absolutely great. So don't worry about it. You might find that the little one's sleep is affected, and again, just don't worry. It's a really short phase. We will find with Theo, he normally sleeps through, but when he has a cold or a cough, he could be up, once, twice, 3 times a night for extended blocks of time, just wanting cuddles, being quite fevery and feeling really poorly. At the time, it can feel really hopeless and really quite distressing because you're tired, you're getting up as well. But I think it is just remembering that it is only a phase. So that would be my advice. The third tip I have is to use paracetamol. The merit of this is to bring down a temperature. This is something, again, during my first little boy that I was always really worried about, was giving them paracetamol, but it is something that will make them feel better. They often quite like the taste. So I think if they do have a fever or a bit of a high temperature, just give them a bit of paracetamol. It's not going to do any harm if it's used in moderation, just a bit every now and then. Something else that we've used a lot of is Snuffle Baby. This is the child's equivalent to Vicks Vapor Rub. We often put it on Theo's feet, on his chest, on his back after a bath, and this is something that will help his breathing. A lot of friends have also used this and said it has been really good. I can feel my throat getting dry again. I still have a cold. This is something I've not been able to shake, so I'm trying really hard not to pass it back to Gary or Theo yet again. I think the other tips are to use a warm bath or a warm shower. This is something that you can use during the day if they do seem really congested or snuffly. Run them a nice warm bath or a shower, depending on the age of the child and if you're going to get in and support them. The warm water will often ease congestion and will help them just to feel better. With a toddler, you can put fun toys and things into the bath just to make it that bit more exciting and break up the day a little bit. This is something that we've used and I would say is really worth doing. The next tip that we have used is to place a rolled towel underneath the head of your baby's cot or bed. Other people have used books, so just a few books, just to slightly raise it. This is if your child's quite snuffly, quite chesty, and just not breathing as they normally would. This is something that has definitely worked. I would say that just make sure your child is over sort of 6 months old and able to roll, because if they are on a slight incline, they may be more inclined to sort of roll about, and you want to make sure they can sort of correct it if they need to. With all of these hints and tips, what I would say is trust your gut instinct as a parent. If you are worried about your little one, if you are really concerned about them, speak to your doctor or your health visitor, or go to a local, walk-in centre or A&E centre, particularly for anything that is breathing related. So if you are worried that they're not breathing very well, or they're very congested or very, very snuffly overnight, it can be worrying, and as I say, it's always better to be safe than sorry. A high temperature is classed as anything over. What I would advise is when your child is well, to check their temperature just every now and then. So with Theo, I got into the habit, not even every month, but just when I remembered and saw the baby thermometer, I would check his temperature, just so I knew roughly within sort of a few sort of Celsius what his body temperature is when he's well, and that's how you know if a temperature is high or not. Theo's body temperature is quite low, mine is also, so a high temperature for him is anything over about 38. For other children, their core temperature will be around 38, so a high temperature will be much higher than that. You'll know yourself, and as I say, just trust your instincts. I hope these hints and tips will help, and fingers crossed you manage to beat the cold and flu virus that is going around this year. Leave me a comment below if you know any hints and tips, or if you've got any suggestions for video ideas, that would be much appreciated. Please like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you. Bye.